Welcome to State of the Offense, fantasy football coverage for your team's offense, the Cleveland Browns. The Browns bring back Deshaun Watson, Nick Chubb, Amari Cooper, and David Njoku as the top players at each skill position for fantasy football. New faces include Elijah Moore and Cedric Tillman at wide receiver. On the offensive line, the Browns will bring back all of their starters from last year. Jedrick Wills is back at left tackle for his fifth season with the team. He played in all the games and rated an 80. His 80 rating places him in the 18 to 19 range of left tackles in football. Left guard Joel Bitonio is a five-time All-Pro entering his 10th season with the Browns. Last year he played in all 17 games and played all of the snaps, and he graded at a 93. His 93 grade tied him with Indianapolis's Quentin Nelson as the best left guard in the league. Center Ethan Pocic is back in Cleveland for his second season with the team. He played in 13 games last year, grading at a 73, and he rated in the 18 to 21 range of starting centers. Right guard Wyatt Teller returns for his fifth season with the team. Teller is a two-time All-Pro. He was the Browns' second best offensive lineman behind Joel Bitonio. He graded an 87, which tied him for the third best right guard in football with Brandon Sheriff in Jacksonville. Jack Conklin rounds out the starting five at right tackle. Conklin played in 14 games last season and he graded at an 81. His 81 made him the ninth best right tackle in the league. The Cleveland offensive line is as accomplished as any group in the NFL. Everyone is signed through the next 3 seasons with the exception of left tackle Jedrick Wills. It is hard to gauge what we saw from Deshaun Watson in his 6 games of action as a Brown. In his time with the Texans, Watson was tremendous. His numbers went up steadily through his career. Part of the reason for his fantasy success has been rushing production. In Houston, he averaged about 419 yards per season. Last year, his 17-game pace would have been 495 rushing yards. Last year, he ranked as the 28th quarterback in fantasy points per game at the quarterback position. I expect him to be much better this year. Watson is currently getting drafted as the 9th quarterback, the 73rd player overall in the 7th round. I'm a little lower on Watson than his average draft position. I personally rate him at the 87 spot. Part of the reason that I think that Watson will be good this year is the wide receiver core. Amari Cooper's 9th season was one of his best. In fantasy, he was the 12th wide receiver in total points and he was 21st in average points per game. He's getting drafted as the wide receiver 17. He is the 42nd player off the board. I believe that Amari Cooper will probably finish higher than that. I personally rate him as the number 27 overall player. Donovan Peoples-Jones had a nice breakout as the Browns' number 2. He had career highs across the board. Peoples-Jones was the wide receiver 37 in total points and the wide receiver 50 in points per game. He is the wide receiver 67 in draft position. Part of the reason that Donovan Peoples-Jones is not valued up to his production from last year is the addition of former Jet Elijah Moore. I rate Moore as my 53rd wide receiver and my 113th player overall. Tight end David Njoku reemerged in 2022 after 3 consecutive mediocre seasons. He was the tight end 10 in total points and 7th in points per game. He's currently the tight end drafted at position 84. I rate Njoku as my 83rd player, so I think he's getting drafted right where he belongs. This makes Njoku a 7th round pick. Normally, I don't like tight end in the middle of the draft. The value is usually better at quarterback, running back, and wide receiver than tight end. You can get someone who will produce similarly to Njoku with players like Tyler Higbee in the 10th round or Greg Dulcich in the 11th round. Nick Chubb was the running back 5 in total points and the running back 7 in average points per game. He is currently the running back 7 drafted, pick 14 overall, which is an early second rounder. This is where I would rate Chubb as well. I think that Jerome Ford, his backup, is a talented player, but I'm not sure if Jerome Ford is going to get the type of work that Kareem Hunt got. There is no reason for Chubb to decline with the offense becoming more balanced. If the passing game is better than 22nd overall in the league like it was last year, Chubb can still get 1,500 yards and 10 plus touchdowns. Hunt was the running back 41 in total points and the running back 59 in average points last year. If Jerome Ford produces at this level, Nick Chubb may end up playing like a top 10 player overall this year. The offensive line, the running game, the wide receiver group, Njoku can all get it done. The ceiling for the Browns wide receivers and tight ends are obviously tied to the resurgence of Deshaun Watson. A 40-touchdown year or a 4,500-yard season is not out of the question. If so, the Browns will be loaded with guys that you want in fantasy. Outside of Watson, I trust Nick Chubb as much as I do any running back. Amari Cooper is actually underrated at this point of his career. The other wide receivers like DPJ and Elijah Moore, I'm not sure about yet, so I will take a wait-and-see approach with them. The Browns have a very high-quality roster across the board. They invested so much to acquire Deshaun Watson to get it over the top. If he plays like he has for 90% of his career, the Browns will compete for the AFC North title. If Watson just ends up having an okay year, the defense and the running game should still be good enough to compete for a winning season. If you like today's coverage of the Cleveland Browns offense, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.